What's this in aid of?
What's this in aid of?
Yeah.
I'm videoing it.
Oh.
Out here, which is not going to be a very long speech, and I've forgotten half the things I was going to say as well, but anyway, being in Manicourt here with everybody else, it's like two different families, the family of Manicourt, and it's a great place to live. As you've all seen, what a wonderful building this is, what a wonderful system they've got here, and I think a lot of it's thanks to Ronnie and the other people of the under one roof. Is it the current name?
Your Housing.
Your Housing, okay. And we have some representatives of Your Housing here too to be with us. And you know, I think it's just great what they've got here for this place. And on the other side, you know, we've got the Parkinson family, which is growing and growing, because every time Mum meets people, it seems like they become almost part of the family, because they, you know, we keep on seeing them and getting together and everything else. So it's been great. So we have Manicourt family, Parkinson family, extended family, and many other friends as well. So it's a great gathering. So anyway, really, that's really what I wanted to mostly say. I'm jumping around here, and of course, what we are missing is another 8 members of the Parkinson family, because Alison, my daughters, and their families were here last month to start the celebrations off with great-grandma, as she was to them anyway. But they're back in Canada because it's now school term time, and the kids are in school, so they couldn't be here today. So I really want to thank you all for coming, and Mum said, you know, one of the best things that ever happened to her was coming to St Helens here, to Manicourt, and I guess that really, one of the best things is after coming from Liverpool, and then after having a son like me, so she was very good at doing that, and also after getting married to my father Ernie, who died many years ago now, but did enjoy life in Silvercombe Road in St Helens here. I'm sure Mum remembers, but we used to cycle around here when I was a little boy, and you know, keep remarking of the change in scenery around here now, because when we used to cycle around, it was all slag heaps, and now it's all forests. I think it's fantastic. So anyway, we've put up some pictures around on the wall here, so that if anybody who is not too sure about what sort of a lady my mother is, there's pictures of her hobbies, of her travels, of the family and friends and everything else over there. One of the things that really isn't on pictures here, unfortunately, is one of the things that she was really most known for, and that is cake making and decorating. And I'm sure there's quite a few people here that have had many cakes made and decorated by her, people in the family mostly. But you know, there was always cakes around the house when I was a kid, so that's why there's a focus on cakes out there as well. You've seen the birthday cake out there. She didn't make that one, but she's made an awful lot of other ones for me. And now Harry here next to her is a baker that she worked with for many years, so they got into making an awful lot of cakes together.
We all made one with a gravestone on it.
I mean, to give you an idea, one Christmas, and it was during the war, because I don't remember vaguely, but at the end, towards the end of the war, when people would save up their rations for cakes, she had 100 Christmas cakes in our house, made for different people. And throughout the year, there was always wedding cakes or birthday cakes or whatever sort of cakes going on. Christmas, of course, was always the big one. And I guess I had the best job of all. But it was my job to finish off the leftover icing. Right, so anyway, that's really what I wanted to say now, and I think that it's time for us to have, everybody's got a glass, time for us to have a toast and to wish Crissie a happy birthday. And then that'll be a few more words to other people, hopefully, as well as me. So. So, to Chris, Grandma, Mother, Auntie Chris, everybody else, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Crissie. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you to everybody. I've just said it quietly, but now I'm saying it out loud. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you for all your nice words and thoughts.
That we sent around to many people, including the man in court, but I don't know if people sort of read the full invitation on the court. We did ask anybody who had any particular stories about their relationship with Crissie during the last few years, the last few hundred years of her life, that you might want to share them. So does anybody want to add anything to what I've tried to say? Anybody got anything?
Yeah, I'll have to go.
Okay. Let me introduce Chris Beard. Chris and I were like brothers when we were small, because Chris was in boarding school in Liverpool, and Mum, like everybody else, took him in and said, hey, you can live with us when you're out of school.
Don't tell any wrong stories.
Now let's hear the dirt.
Well, I'm Chris. Can't hear you. Oh, open your ears. I'm Chris. Auntie, I suppose I owe more to this lady. Very emotional here. Than probably anybody in this room except John. She took me in when I was, what would you call it, abandoned?
No.
But anyway, and she gave me a home. And she shared her life with me. And John, I often wonder what John thought about it all actually, because he sort of didn't get sidelined. She never sidelined anybody. She's just a brilliant woman. But thinking about my childhood with living in the Parkinson home, when her husband Ernie was alive, her mother was alive, and your uncle was alive, and he was a bit of a character, and John, of course. So that was 5 of them in the house, and I came along, and she said, "Yep, come in, plenty of room for everybody." and she took me in. We were trying to think earlier on how it all happened. Neither of us could remember, could we? The details are a bit fuzzy these days. But the upshot was that my mother went back to India, and I spent the rest of my life, my leaves from school and the Navy, with the family. And you wouldn't believe the wonderful life that we had. She took us everywhere, to holidays, and I was always included. There was never any question of Chris not being included. I was there as part of the family. Hang on there, John. So we had some great holidays. And I can remember a couple in particular where sand and water were involved. We were talking about it this morning. John had a friend he was on an exchange thing from school, a young French lad called Pierre. And he was a nice little character, and he mixed in very well. Do you remember? Anyway, we went to South Wales, to the Gower Peninsula. And on one particular occasion, we went to swim at Rossilli. And we had this very, very, very nice lady with us and her daughter called May Reynolds, who's had a sister called Queenie. Anyway, we got down to the beach, it was summer, so we all stripped off, we had our swimmies on, and we all got in the water, and we said to May, take some photographs, May. So May got the camera, and she stood on the edge of the water, and we were all taking photographs. Next thing we knew, the waves had washed our clothes away. She was up to her ankles in water, didn't even realise. Anyway, it didn't matter. Auntie just took it in her stride. She got all the towels out, dried us all off, took us up to a local cafe, where it was sat on the top of the cliff, wasn't it? And said, look, we just got all our clothes wet. So they took the clothes in, they dried them off a bit for us as best they could, and that was it. She just took it in her stride, and that was it. And then the other time was the Coopers thing. Everybody remember Coopers? Yes. Remember Coopers?
Oh,
yes. Was it Church Street?
Yes.
Well, my mother was a bit of a prim and proper sort of person, and at least she liked to think she was. And on this particular occasion, she said, right, we're all going to Ainsdale. We're going to the beach. So there must have been, what, 10 kids? There's John, obviously, myself, Peter Downey, all those people who were out here. And we all went off to Ainsdale on the train. And it rained. And we all got pretty wet. So we had to come home. And Auntie said, oh, by the way, I call her Auntie. Auntie said, let's go to Cooper's. And my mum said, we can't go to Cooper's in this condition. And I said, yeah, of course we can. So anyway, we did. And we trooped into Cooper's, covered in sand and wet. And they just accepted us. And Auntie said, I've got 10 kids here. They're all wet and cold. Can we feed them? And they did. They just did it. And that was the sort of thing she would do. And really, I mean, there were lots of things like that. We went to holidays just about everywhere. We were talking about it this morning. You know, there was the Isle of Arran. She got a bit confused there. She thought it was 1940. I said, no, it didn't get you until 1946. So, but then we sorted that one out. But we did go to the Isle of Arran. We went to Muddy, what's it called? Muddy, the one in the West Country.
Bude.
Oh, Bude was a good holiday. Western Superwear. Muddy Western Superwear. Yeah. And we just went everywhere, and it was just a very, very happy life. Sorry about this. A very happy life. And it was all because of this wonderful lady. The gentleman sitting next to her is Harry Burnett, which is already mentioned him.
Hiya, folks.
And the lady sitting next to him is his daughter. And he's got another daughter who's in the States. Harry was a baker, and Auntie used to work for him in Preston Road? Picton Road. Long time since I lived in Liverpool. And this man was just wonderful. I know it's Auntie's birthday, but I've got to tell you about him as well.
The two of us went together.
They did, actually. They went together. And John and I used to go down there. He always used to feed us cakes. And he always gave us half a crown. Always.
What can I have of that?
Harry is Scottish.
That tells you something. Could have been 5 bob. Anyway, this man used to be in the Navy. And it was him who taught me into joining the Navy. But that wasn't entirely it. That wasn't entirely the story. Because what really happened, or what happened as a result of him saying this, was that when my mother disappeared somewhere, I was in boarding school. And I was on summer holidays one year. Auntie came out to me in the street, because we used to play in the street in those days, didn't we? Not anymore. And she said, "Chris, can you come in a minute, please?" So I went in. Do you remember this? She said, "I've had a letter from your mother," which was a change because she never wrote to anybody. And he said, "She's not going to be able to afford to keep you at school anymore, so what do you want to do?" So I said, your kids no more school. Great. And I thought, well, good point. So she said, "Well, you've always wanted to join the Navy. Why don't we go give it a try?" So I said, okay. So we went down to St John's Lane in Liverpool, and it was in the October. My birthday is in October. So at the end of the summer term, the summer holidays, it was sort of end of August, beginning of September. And of course, I wasn't 15 until 8th of October. And of course, you can't leave school until you're 15. So we went along to St John's Lane, and this commander said to me, "Oh, you want to join the Navy, lad?" I said, "Yes, please, sir." All keen in my shorts. And he said, "Right." He said, "How old are you?" And I said, "15, sir." And he said, "When were you 15? I said, "A week ago." He said, "You should be at school, lad." Couldn't leave school until the end of the term, of course. So I had to go back to school, but I went to a different school. But it was Auntie who did it all. And all I can say is she is just a wonderful person.
Great. Thank you. So you see, as I say, Chris was like a brother to me for a long, all our childhood and everything else. So it's great to have him with us. You know, he was talking about being wet at Rosilly in South Wales. It reminded me of another story about Mum, when she came across to Canada. Soon after we left England, and we were in Canada for 2 years, and she came over with my dad, and we were going to go touring in British Columbia, which is where we live. And so we were going to be a camping tour. And actually, would you believe that 2 of our companions who just walked in here, Rob and Larry, against the wall there, the 4 of us and my mother and father went camping in British Columbia. Now, I think you were 50 and my dad was, 65 or something like that. You know, they were getting on, they hadn't been camping before, but they were game to try it. And so we drove up, we camped at a couple of different places, and then we camped at a place called Cornell, and went to a ghost town, an old frontier town, Markerville, which is quite famous, the gold rush. Came back and we found it had been raining, it had been pouring, and our whole tent was flooded, and all of the clothes were flooded, and everything else. So we take them into the laundrette, dry them out, and get a good night's sleep. Anyway, the next day we were in Prince George, which is in the middle of British Columbia, it's quite a ways north. And we said, okay, we're going to stay in a hotel tonight. We ended up having dinner in about the best restaurant in Prince George. So here we go, going from the soaking wet camping night with Mum to the best restaurant. You couldn't understand the Canadian way of life. So there it is anyway. And I should say, by the way, that if anything that's happening today is not the way you expect it to happen, well, you can put it down to the fact that Alison and I are Canadian now. We don't know the proper way of doing things. Anyway, anybody else want to make any comments? Pass any thoughts? Peter, okay.
We don't want you to sing.
When Adolf Hitler invaded Poland in 1939, little did he know the impact that would have on my life. But what happened as a result of that is my father was invited by King George VI with a few other people to go and invade France in 1944. As a result of which he fetched up in costume in Liverpool after his experiences there. He was met wandering around Broad Green by Chris, who said to him, "You look like a lonely soldier. Would you like to come home and have a cup of tea?" Which is what he did. A few months later, Chris and Ernie came down to London to stay with Mum and Dad, and they went off to London Zoo. And Mum started wandering down the pathway. Ernie said, "Oh, don't go down there, that's where the stork house is." Well, of course, Mum being Mum, she went down where the stork house was, and I was the result. The next letter that my mother wrote to Chris and Ern was to announce the fact that she was expecting a baby, and I was born just after the end of the war. And we've become friends ever since. In fact, when I was 17, I went to stay with Chris for a holiday, and while I was there, I asked Chris for some advice, because there's a girl I'm rather keen on, but I'm a bit shy and don't quite know how to go about these things. And Chris gave very good advice, which I followed, which is still working. And as a result of which, I asked Joyce out on our first date when we got back. That was just over 50 years ago. We celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary in July, and possibly if Chris hadn't given me the nudge, we wouldn't be here today. So that's, if anybody ever offers you a cup of tea or invites you for a cup of tea, you never know where you're going to end up. But the impact that Chris has had on my life in many, many ways, that's just one of them, is immeasurable. I totally endorse everything that Chris said about Chris. She really is a fantastic person. She deserves this tribute today, I can't tell you, and I'm so proud to have been a friend for all these years. One other little thing I do, just a funny thing, we took Chris out for her birthday. I think was it about your 91st, might have been 91st or 92nd birthday, and we said, "Well, where would you like to go, Chris?" And she said, "Well, I'd quite like to go and see the Gormley thing, you know, at Crosby, another place." And we went there, had a lovely day, and when we came back, Alice came round and said, "Well, what did you do for your birthday, Mrs. P?" So she said, "Well, we went to see the naked men." So Alice said, I suppose it has been a while." Leave them laughing.
Open mic, anybody else have anything to say? I know Mike from Open Housing. Your Housing. His name's changed. As far as I can say, it's still Arena. But anyway, from the house here, we'll just have a couple of words.
Thanks very much, John. I'm certainly not going to indulge myself in this. Suffice to say that for most of you who don't know me, I'm Mick Taylor. I'm the Regional Sheltered Housing Manager for clearly what was Arena Options, and as we now know has recently changed to Your Housing Group. But essentially, you're living in the same place, still having a wonderful time with the wonderful service, hopefully, that you have been enjoying, that you were telling me about earlier. Quite simply, there's no truth in the rumour that as Regional Manager, I came down to make sure that the reports of a serious health and safety risk were unfounded. That is to say, there was 100 incendiary devices about to be going off shortly on a particular case. So that's on behalf of Your Housing Group. You're an absolute inspiration. And if we had more residents like yourselves, eventually I'd be out of a job. So many, many congratulations on this, your 100th birthday.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you.
happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
To meet you.
Oh,
For you. And I've got these for you as well.
oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so
Where shall I
much.
put them?
That is a major question.
Don't be making your own jokes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after the photography session here, let's start to have a party. So there's lots of food around the corner. There's wine out there, and fruit drinks, and tea and coffee for later on, whatever you like. And we'll have a cake cutting in a little while. Okay, we'll bring the cake out here and have a cake.
No, it doesn't really, no.
Yeah, all right, you can blow the next one out. Could you go and tell your grandpa that the candles are being lit and can he get everybody in here? He's round the back here, Amber.
I know, I'm not going to tell everybody.
Amber, you might want to go to Mrs. P and ask if she needs a hand blowing loud. Sorry. I'm going to look a bit over here with his
I think so.
I think. Have you asked Mrs. P? Have you asked her?
Ask what?
You were going to ask her if you can help to blow the candles out.
When you finish.
Ember was wondering if she can help to blow the candles out.
Oh,
Ember was wondering if she can help to blow the candles
oh,
out.
I'm sure she could. You and I will do try. There are knowledge.
You'll need a lot of help, won't you? There's a lot of candles over there, aren't
So I hope she's not going to blow now.
No, I'm told her not now.
Oh,
Are you enjoying it?
listen, I'm just about dizzy
Are you?
because I never expected all this.
Didn't you? Is it good though?
And the mayor was being very nice too. Didn't expect him to be staying on this long.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
I know he had an interview with somebody at 2:30, and he would try and get here for 3:30.
Ladies and gentlemen, cake time. All go up at the moment, and then it's going to be all blown out in one blow by the lady of the moment. Or maybe even two.
She's going to help you.
Okay, very good.
Come on, now are we ready? Do we blow?
1, 2, 3, to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
Blow, blow, blow.
Keep going!
Electric candles, they don't go on.
Don't set your hair on fire!
One more, one more.
Chris, don't go away for a minute, love. Chris!
She's having a busy time here.
You stretching your legs?
What
You stretching your legs? Yeah. Oh.
Wait a minute then.
You okay, B?
Keep your hands still while she takes a photograph. Just keep your hands still while she takes a photograph.
Like Keith. This is made by a friend of ours, Claire, who does cooking.
Well, that's a lovely cake.
Yeah, good. Right, you want to sit down again? Sit down. Go on then. I'll turn. I'll turn.
We are taking
That's a long, long time. My husband goes for the letter.
You've already said it.
He said enough, I think.
Is it on?
Yeah?
Testing, testing.
You can do that if you want. 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2. Right, this is for the birthday video.
Yes.
This is just to say that it's just great to see how many people have turned up, both of her family and her friends. And it's just amazing that so many people have taken the trouble to come and be with her on her 100th birthday. And she is just the best.
Yeah. Here. Want to say anything?
I will say something. I'll say that 100 years, just to say a happy birthday seems an understatement, but a very, very happy birthday, and let's all hope we're here for the 110th, at least.
Hi Auntie, it's Mary, and I just want to say I've had a wonderful day and I hope you have too. I'm sure you've had a wonderful birthday, and I'd like to thank you very much for all the years that I've known you. You've been a wonderful other mother, so many thanks. Love you. Bye.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Mrs. P. You rock.
I'd like to say that I've lived here now for 9 years in Manor Court, and it's been a pleasure to know Chris, and such a pleasant lady. She really, really gets on with everybody here, and it's a lovely atmosphere living in Manor Court. All right.
Well, there is one thing I forgot to mention, and that is in the 1980s, Crissie had the opportunity. The British Rail were giving everybody a chance to go all around the country just for £1. And so Crissie went on her tour, and she came down to see us in Bath and stayed with us. And during that time, she was teaching our children nursery rhymes, like what was the one about
Gypsies in the Wood.
my
My mother said.
I never should. and so on. So
and they
then
all
you had
still remember that.
to do that. You had to do the movement with your hands as well. So it was, yeah, she was such a lively, full of life character.
Very, very kind. She put my parents up when they came to Liverpool.
See me,
Visit us at
yeah.
college,
Yeah, that's when we met, you see. So and Vicky used to come round.
Yeah, she used to give us supper every so often, and she, she kept a good eye on us as well, so we didn't get up to mischief.
And she was so interested in the students, and she and Ernie used to really put their whole heart and soul into it.
And her mum was there as well, so I can remember her mum very clearly.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I remember they were always winning competitions. Every time they see a competition, they go for it, and they'd win so many times. So
We're really lucky like that.
Yeah. So that's another memory.
Well, let's both say something. What are you going to say? I don't know what to say. Are you going to say something? No, just us two then.
Well,
say something.
Well, right. I mean, I'm very lucky. I was invited to a birthday party about 3 years ago, and I couldn't make it.
Yes.
It was Auntie Chrissie's.
Hey.
And I only joined the family 4 years ago, but I was adopted and taken from my mum. So it's a wonderful chance to be able to meet Auntie Chrissie, and she's 100 at the same time. So it's been a fantastic day.
Great cake. As ever, Auntie Chrissie.
This is my little brother.
I'm the little brother.
Yeah.
I've known Auntie Chrissie for 54 years. So that's almost half her life. Imagine that.
Wow.
And you've just met her.
I've only known her for,
So, happy
2
birthday.
hours. Yeah, happy birthday, Auntie Chrissie.
What then?
It's not pointing at me, it's pointing over my shoulder. I can see it's not pointing
No, it's because of your funny eye.
Rubbish. Right, I've got a funny eye. Hello, Mrs. P. Happy birthday. It is fantastic that it's your birthday. So I'm really pleased that you had a good birthday with loads and loads of cake, which I managed to get all over the place, cutting it up, and all over my fingers. And I wasn't allowed to lick them because of health and safety. Stupid. So, happy birthday, and I hope you get lots more anniversaries for 100, 200, 300, 400, 500? The owl's missing. There was an owl up there, a plastic owl on the top of the thing to stop the birds from landing on the wires. And it's gone. You can see the bit of metal that it used to be attached to, but somebody's stolen the owl.
Say something. Say something.
Happy birthday, Auntie Chris. That's not very original, I know, but there you go. I mean it.
Yeah, I've just told Chris actually that the time we took Chris to Llandudno, it was about a 92nd birthday then, and we went in the little train up to the top of the Great Orme. It was pouring down with rain, got absolutely soaked. And so when we got back, I said, "What did you think of that?" She said, "Oh, that was amazing. I haven't been soaked to the skin for years." And that was it.
Do you want to say anything?
Thank you.
I'm videoing. Have you got anything you want to say for the birthday video?
Oh, I've not thought about it, no. I thought it's been great. I can only say it's been great.
You can only say what?
It's been great. It's all
been
of
great.
it, right? Yes. I don't want any of the other ladies want to say anything. They want to say something. Oh, Jane!
Do you want to say anything? Video? Pardon?
Only that she's a wonderful lady, remarkable lady.
That's all I can say. We all think the same. You know, we all think the same. Yes, we do, yes.
She's well respected anyway. She's well respected.
Wonderful woman. And to blow all them candles out, she must be great. I don't think I could do that.
She's one in a million, isn't she?
She is, definitely.
Don't say anything for the birthday video.
Only that what a wonderful lady she is. And thank everybody for a lovely afternoon. It was very nice of the family to invite everybody and celebrate it, especially for Chris.
Lovely now.
We're good friends.
Very happy birthday, Chris, from Molly. Oh, my love.
Birthday, Mrs. B. You shout happy birthday. You want to say happy birthday to Mrs. P? Happy birthday, Mrs. P.
Are you going to say happy birthday, Bran?
Mommy, you can eat this.
Oh, thank you, darling. Can you say happy birthday to Mrs. P? Can you sing happy birthday to Mrs. P?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Crissie. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Chris.
So I hope you continue for another 10 years at least.
Yeah, Brennan thinks so as well.
Happy birthday, Mrs. B.
I've enjoyed it very much. Yeah.
What was it like meeting the mayor? What was it like meeting the mayor?
Oh, it was really nice.
What did you think of the cake?
Lovely. Really nice. Nice cake.
What about the speeches?
Oh, speeches. I didn't think John could make a speech. You know, I don't associate him with speech making, put it that way.
Do you think he did all right?
Yeah. Very good.
That was the best party ever.
Oh, nice one.
Can I see the whole of it?
everything, everybody. I've enjoyed it.
Same time next year.